What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm talking about the top 5 ways to keep your sneaker collection organized. Before we jump into things, I want to give a huge thank you to the Container Store for sponsoring today's video. And as you guys can see, I use a lot of drop front boxes. I'm sure you're already familiar with the Container Store's clear drop front boxes, which are great for storing and protecting your sneakers, but they actually just released this black drop front box, which is UV resistant. That means that these boxes actually protect your shoes from sunlight and prevent them from fading. But other than that, it's the same Container Store drop front box. It still stacks with the clear boxes, as you guys can see behind me, and it still holds up to a size 13 pair of shoes. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of that sort of checkerboard pattern I got going on behind me. Until I did it, I didn't know exactly how it was gonna look, but now that I've done it, I actually think it looks pretty dope. And of course, these black boxes still have the clear drop front so you can find the sneakers that you're looking for, and in my opinion, they look great as a display piece. They also have ventilation holes to let your shoes breathe and get rid of that foot stank, and they're also made of an anti-static material that actually repels dust. And if you would like to check out the Container Store's brand new black drop front boxes, make sure to click the link in the description below. But jumping into the video, today we're talking about 5 tips to organize your sneaker collection. And even though we all love sneakers, we don't all know how to keep them safe and looking good. Even as a literal professional designer, I've struggled with this, and this is something that I've kind of just taken for granted and something like I didn't feel like I needed to do until I actually did it. And then I realized how much better everything looks, how much safer my sneakers are, and how much easier it is to get to the shoes that I actually want to wear. So without further ado, let's jump right into the tips, Marie Kondo style. I've never watched it, I just know that that's a show about organizing. Number 5, figure out the ideal conditions to store your sneakers. As we all know, sneakers don't last forever. They're made from rubber, leather, and other materials like that don't have that long of a shelf life. And even though you can never preserve a sneaker forever, there are a few steps that you can take to slow down the aging process. One of the most important steps that you can take is keeping your sneakers out of the sun, and that's actually where the black drop front boxes can come in handy. The sun and its UV rays can really expedite the process of a shoe aging, yellowing, and fading. So for all of those times that you're not wearing your shoes, try and keep them out of direct sunlight. Keeping your prized possessions cool and dry also helps them stay fresher for longer. Heat can not only speed up the yellowing process, but it can actually wear away the glue that holds the midsole and the upper together. You also want to keep your sneakers dry because getting certain materials wet can ruin them. And if you keep your shoes in a damp environment, they can actually mold, which is disgusting. You also want to keep as much dust off the sneaker as possible, especially when it's a shoe that you don't wear too often. And if you've been into sneakers for a while, you know that if you don't wear your sneakers, after a decade or so, the midsoles can actually start crumbling. So in that way, it's sort of a lose-lose. The best way to prevent that is break each shoe out in your collection every so often, show them a bit of love, and wear them around. And because of the dust repellent coating, the Container Store drop front boxes are a great way to keep dust off your shoes. Number 4, only buy and keep the sneakers that you really want. Shoes are expensive, and as you just heard, they can actually require a lot of maintenance, which gets exponentially harder the more sneakers that you have. Everyone's sneaker collection is different and very personal to them, and everyone has their own goals when it comes to collecting shoes. For me, it's important to have sneakers in my collection that I actually wear, so if I find myself not really wearing a pair of sneakers unless it's signed or something like that, I usually try and get rid of it. There's literally no reason to have an insanely huge collection for no reason, obviously. If you're buying sneakers just for clout, that's fine, but I can tell you right now, no one's gonna like you more because you have more shoes. But the most important thing is don't blow all your money on sneakers. There are much more important things in life than shoes, and having money so that you can experience those things is much more important. As I say in my sit or sell videos, buy sneakers because you want them and not because some random person on the internet told you to. Number 3, track your collection. When it comes to collecting anything, let alone sneakers, it's important to know what you have. There are a lot of obvious reasons for this. One of the biggest ones is so that you know if you have a problem and if you're buying too many shoes. I mean, that's not going to be a problem for everyone, but it is for me. Of course, it's also important to know what you have so that you don't buy duplicates or shoes that are too similar for no reason. You could use a spreadsheet or a checklist, whether that's digital or on paper, to keep track of what shoes are coming in, what shoes are in your collection, and which shoes you're selling. I personally use the StockX portfolio on their website because it keeps track of how much each shoe is worth, even for the shoes that are worn. It also gives you a nice visual representation of each shoe and has a nice graph that shows you like what your collection's made up of. It's pretty cool. And finally, it's just always a good idea to know what you have. There are so many reasons for it. I can't cover all of them here. I definitely can't think of all of them, but it's one of those obvious things you just need to do. Number 2, plan out how you want to display your collection. Everyone has a different reason for collecting their shoes, and of course that means that everyone's going to want to have a different way of displaying their shoes. So planning out how you want to display your collection before you actually go out and spend money on things that you need to display it is pretty important. The 2 main ways that people display their collections are either for ease of use so that they can get to a certain pair of sneakers the quickest, or for decorative purposes so that they can show off their collection and just make make the room look good. My favorite way to do this is obviously drop front boxes. And I'm not just saying that because this video is sponsored. I've been doing it for a while. I like these boxes because each shoe is easy to get to because you can just open a door rather than having to pull out, one box from your stack of boxes. And you can also easily see which shoe is where because each one of the boxes is a clear front. So make sure that you're planning out how you want to store your collection before you drop the money on the actual things you need to store it. Number 1. Categorize. Now this one might seem like the most obvious one, but it's actually the one that's the most important. The way you categorize each shoe determines how easy it is to get to each shoe, how you want each shoe to look on shelves, and also how you want your collection to look as a whole. The way that I've categorized my collection is that I put my favorite sneakers in the center by brand, and then I put the sneakers that I wear the most in the middle at eye level so they're easy to grab whenever I need them. I'm a Jordan guy. I grew up on Jordans. Even my fiance's name is Jordan. That wasn't on purpose. It's just lucky coincidence. So I've got the Jordans in the center, the Air Jordan 1s to the left because I have the most of them. And then moving outwards to my right, I've got the Adidas's and Pumas, and then on the left, I've got the Nike and sort of miscellaneous brands. And then I've got sort of an off-white shrine here with a lot of my off-white sneakers. But that's pretty much it. I organized my collection in a way that displays the sneakers that I like the best and also make it easy for me to get to the sneakers that I wear the most. And of course, I chose to use the Container Store drop front boxes because they display my shoes really well, keep them safe, and make them really easy to find. But that pretty much wraps up the list for today. Thank you once again to the Container Store for sponsoring today's video, and of course don't forget to check out the brand new Container Store black boxes in the link in the description below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.